All right, last but not least, let's talk about tone. Tone is the general character or attitude of the speaker. So when we are talking about tone, a good way to think about it is if a parent, an adult has ever said, "Don't take that tone with me." They're not referring to specifically what you said, they're referring to how you said it. And that's the tone, because your attitude is coming across in that conversation or whatever you're having. Now, identifying tone and analyzing tone can be really complicated, but a great way to kind of get the foundation of tone is to think back to what we were saying about diction, word choice. If we are saying that an author is using sentimental or sympathetic diction, that's probably because they are building a sympathetic tone. So they use particular words to create this overall tone, and that's why diction is the word choice, whereas tone is the effect that's created by that word choice. So as you're going through a passage, we want to be looking for when those things change, particularly, because tonal shift usually happens for a really good reason. Sometimes it's because they are refocusing on something that's more somber, more difficult to talk about. Sometimes they're switching to a more impassioned kind of call to action at the end. But anytime we can find one of those changes in tone, it's a really rich source of analysis. And tone is also a question that's asked about a lot in the multiple choice. So just like diction, we said you have to have that adjective, that word out in front to kind of fully describe what diction is and to analyze it. The same thing applies to tone. We can't just say an author uses a tone, because every text has a tone. So there again, we want to kind of figure out that emotional tone that they're bringing to whatever text it is we're looking at. So like I said, tonal shift is that change that occurs within the same text. So if a passage is a page long, you might be reading along for a third of the page, and then you realize just a feeling change. I guess what you guys would probably call it is there's a vibe shift, right? That's a tonal shift, and that's intentionally done by the author, usually to either emphasize a new argument or shift the argument to a new focus. So definitely keep looking for those tonal shifts, those vibe shifts, I guess, if you want to call it, because they're a great place to figure out rhetorical choices and moves. And so that is our CAT vocabulary. We've talked about the rhetorical and stylistic choices, the different types of rhetorical appeals, and now tone. And so when we do our space CAT assignments, we're just kind of picking at these things in the text, just like we did with a spaces analysis.